Hello everyone, I am Neeraj Gautam and I work at Articam as a software engineer where my day-to-day work involves developing new feature or and customizing the existing feature in the framework itself for our specific use case. With the today's topic that is customizing document lifecycle using document and document class override, we will learn how we can use both of them and provide customization for our specific requirement. Before moving forward to the coding part, we must understand that the framework is known as a low-code, no-code framework and also battery-included framework, which means the framework provides most of the feature that we can think of out of the box. So we must do the requirement analysis where we will see if the feature is already available in the framework or not. If it does not exist, we might want to go ahead and provide it to the framework itself by contributing it. And if it does, we will see if it fits our requirement. And if it does not, then we will move to the coding part where we will be customizing some of the parts for our use case. For the overview of both of them, the document are the class methods only, which are provided by the base class of the document, which we can use in our hooks.py and provide the customization on the lifecycle events. Now for the document class override, it is a Pythonic way where we will be overriding any parent class in the child class and provide specific implementation for our use case. Now moving on to the difference part, before getting into the difference between them, we must understand that the document and the document class override both serve a different purpose and we should not be using them in the proxy of each other. Now for the document, it is more of a extending the core behavior where we can tap onto the lifecycle hooks method and provide the customization. And as it is like the event methods, all the documents from the multiple apps will be executed. And as it is heavily backed by the framework, this is very future-proof way of doing the customization. And as for the document class override, it is for the modifying the core behavior where we not can only tap into the lifecycle methods, but we can tap into the internals method of the class also. In this case, the last writer will win, and also it will add the maintainability as the parent class might get changed in the near future. So moving ahead, here is the list of the document that we can use in the framework. For more information, we can go to the documentation where we can know about each of them. Now, there might be a question that how we can choose between them. So to start, first we will start with the document events where we will be providing our customization on the hooks method and see if it is working or not. If it does work, we are good to go. We do not have to think about the rest of them. And if it does not, then we might want to go ahead and use a subsequent event hook. What I mean by that is, let's take one example where you are providing a customization on the validate hook. So in this case, instead of uh, doing the customization on validate hook, you will be using before insert hook. So in this case, we will be using the subsequent hook of the current hook. And after that, if it does not work out, then we can use the class override where we will be just doing where we will be extending the parent class and in the child class and provide the implementation. And last and foremost, we can use the app hook resolution order where we will be telling the framework in which order it should load all the apps. Now moving to the demo part, we have we can go to the demo. For the demo of the documents, we are going to the employee we are going to use the employee doc type where we have added one custom field called the appraisal date, and on the creation of the employee we will be automatically setting that appraisal date, and again in the appraisal doc type itself we can automatically set it based on the appraisals. So let's go to the employee, and in the employee let's try to add one employee. Let's take one, let today's date only, and let's just save it. As soon as we save it, we can see the appraisal date has been changed for the next year. Now we can make it read only field also, so no one can just come here and update it. So now let's see how we have done it. In the apps folder, we have documents, and in the documents, we will go to the hooks.py where we have the key called documents, and in which we will be providing the dictionary or form of the method that we are going to execute. For first part, we are going to do it on the employee doc type on the before insert, and in the before insert we will provide which method we want to execute. In this method, we have just set the custom appraisal date and add 1 year into the date of joining whenever the employee is getting created. And for the appraisal part, whenever the appraisal is submitted, we are just updating the appraisal date of an employee based on the appraisal when the appraisal is done, and add 1 year into it. So this was all about the documents. Now we will be moving towards the doc override part. For the doc override, we will be taking one hypothetical example where in your organization there are multiple system managers, and you do not want them to use the system console and run any arbitrary code on your website. So for that, we can create one custom role and assign it to one user, and that user only should be able to execute the uh, system console. So first let us understand how we have done this. So we will go back to the Visual Code and go to the doc override, and in the hooks.py we have one a key called override doc type class, in which we will provide the doc type name and the class for the overriding that doc type. And in here we have overridden one method only, run method. Before understanding what we have done here exactly, let's take the parent class for an example. So as you can see, the run method in the parent class is for the frappe dot only for the system manager, and we do not want the system manager to execute the code. So for our overridden class, we have done this for the only system console manager, and we will be putting rest of the code as it is, because we do not want the system manager to be executing the code, and we are not going to give that role to any user. So as you can see, done uh, we have just changed one line, and this should work now. So we will move to the UI, and now as you can see, I have logged in as a real Prajapati here, and this user is a system manager. And if I go to the system console and try to execute the code, if I try to execute the code, it will say this action is only allowed for the system manager. So this way CL will not be able to execute the Python or the SQL command. Now for the another user, this is Neeraj Gautam, and this user has a system console manager access. And now if this user goes to the system console and try to execute the same code, he will be able to execute the code. See, we can see the working message. So in this way, we can use a doc override and the class override for our own use case. Final thought from the presentation is that whenever we think of using the document class override, first and foremost thing is that we should avoid it. We should not be doing the class override for every every small things in the custom apps, and we should make sure that the usage is very minimum. And if we have to use it, then we should document the changes where it will be visible to all the team member and the user. And one last thing to keep in mind is that the last writer will always win. Thank you for the presentation. Here are some reference link and the link to the GitHub code and the slides.